Hey, buddy. Second ad. Well, I don't know. You know that all of the ads on my end are disabled, right? So I can't do anything about it, sadly. Hopefully, people will, those that follow me, switch to YouTube, and then, yeah, if they do that, then I can stop streaming one day and Twitch completely. Twitch sucks ass. There's so low audio. I think yeah. I think I, for some reason, decreased the audio. Yeah, it was around 10%, yeah. I don't think it's about the music. Is music still too loud relative to the microphone? What did I say? Actually, I don't remember what. Oh yeah, the ads. Well, I mean, you know that ads have always been disabled on my end, so there's nothing really I can do about ads, right? It's just like maybe one day, if this stream basically survives, whatever, I think, yeah, we should be streaming on YouTube, really, not on Twitch, right? Let me just give me 1 second. I think I'm already live, right? So I just wanna get the chat and put it. Give me 2 seconds. So docs, custom browser docs. Let's just get started here. Let me smack this chat in there. Yes, beautiful. And I wonder though, is there a way to I wonder if I can add the chat on the screen somehow in OBS. I don't think so. Application audio capture, video capture, scene, gradient, game capture, browser. Yeah, I don't think so. Is there something in Streamlabs that I can use? No, I don't think I can in OBS, no. There has to be some, need to use some other service to do that. There's no such thing in OBS where I need some transparent thing, right? So maybe alert widgets, maybe this, no. Recent events, multi-stream, charity, cloudbot. No, there was never a way to do that directly in OBS. You just need that. You need to Twitch panels, creators, multi-charity, cloudbot. I don't actually know. Let's just. No. Chatbot. Yeah, so here it is. I think I need to. Yeah, so I think, give me a second. I think I just need to create a browser source now. So I say browser, I say chat, chat, and then I paste this fella over here, right? Can you type something? I mean, I don't see anything. Team Twitch. Yeah, you should be seeing something now on the screen, but you don't. So that's a little bit weird. Where did I add this chat? Twitch chat, yeah. Oh yeah, now you can see it, right? Let me type something in YouTube. YouTube. Do we get that comment? I don't think so, no. Oh, actually we do. Okay, you see it. Okay, great. Okay, great. So let's just boxed. Old school. What is old school? Let me see. What is clunky? So this is kind of... I see, okay. I don't know if this chat is annoying on the screen, so let's kind of do this as an experiment. and then we'll see over time, right? We'll just have to go and see, right? I don't know. I hate these things on my screen. I like the screen to be... it's nice because now... Make it smaller. Top right corner, okay. Alright, we'll try this as an experiment. It doesn't really matter, right? Shit, wait. Is that okay? Is that alright? Alright, fuck it, let's just leave it there, and then let's see what people say. Alright. Alright, let me just close up some stuff here, because I was recording a video, as some of you saw. And just released a new video on YouTube today. Alright, cool. Well, that's what it is. Let's just, let's not, I don't care. Replace, okay, so last night I was doing some work on the network off stream. So I need to do some work now again. So let's open the use AGV form, this thing that we open sourced recently, right? And let's open this fella up. And what I'm gonna do, and eventually then we're gonna remove this from the actually front end here. Use form. So I had this function that I used to export from the library, and I still need it. And it was called this one. It was this one, set AGV errors. So I kind of removed this from the library that we open sourced to use AGV form. So we need to put that back because I do need it, and I think the library itself needs it, right? So we'll need to write some tests for it, and we need to put it back. So somewhere around here, right, we need to have a function that users who are using this library, in this case us, that we can actually programmatically set the errors on the whole form. It's form dirty, blah, blah, blah. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to smack this bad boy here. And I used to have this process AGV errors. I wonder... process, I think we did have this process. We definitely did have this before. So let's see actually what did I do in the recent thing. Snail, good evening, brother. AJV. Let me just find it. Set errors. Yeah, we have the set errors, validate form. If I just go to my old implementation here. So what is this process AGV errors? I had this function, right? Yeah. And I no longer have this, I guess, right? In this new implementation, let's see. Get field name, where am I? Get errors. Okay, so I think now this is called get errors instead, right? Okay. Seaplane, yeah, man, for sure, man, for sure. That was the thing back in the day, definitely. I'm trying to verify an account on Upwork. Should I share my jedinstveni matični broj with them? I mean, you have to share some identification, right? You for sure have to share your ID or something. Yeah, definitely. All right, so so we're gonna so we already have set errors, which is an internal thing, right? So we can't call the external one set errors, but I think it would be better if we did. I mean, try blurring it out and then see, right? It's unclear, right? I don't think that they care about it, right? If you don't, just blur it out, just show the rest of it, right? Good evening, YouTube. All right, so AJV error is, I think there is a type here for, somewhere. Use form error, how did I think I did use their original type. Error object, I think this is coming from AJV, right? So this should be error object, and then that should be an array, right? Now AJV errors, so we have accumulator here and the actual error. And this error, I suppose, is a error object, right? But it doesn't seem that, so error object, right? Yeah, I'm sure, I mean, I don't think that they care, right? They just need some way to verify that you're a real person, right? Okay, so this isn't actually what I thought. So what is this error in my old implementation? So wait, process AJV errors. So I use this over here, right? No, wait a minute. Where is this? Use form, yeah, process AJV errors, set errors. So I would actually process, okay, so let's see, let's go back here. So this is not an error object, so those AJV errors. And so the get errors takes, yeah, this is AJV errors, in fact. Oh, actually, so maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe I don't need any of this, right? I mean, what I'm trying to say, I guess, this is now handled inside of my new this get errors that I wrote, right? So that's probably the issue, right? Because yeah, I think that's what I did with this one. This is gonna now set the actual errors, right? Okay, so that's fine. But now since we have this set state and set errors, yeah, I guess this is okay, right? So as long as we actually provide the errors, but is this gonna be really an error object? I mean, it could be, but not really, right? Because if I go to my API, because I'm just doing this mostly for the errors originating, for example, from the API, I have some AJV error in the API, right? Let me go to my some error handler, right? Yeah, so here it is. I have this AJV validation, this custom error that I introduced, and this has a type, which is irrelevant in this context, but then it has this errors array, and the error has an instance path and the message. This instance path is essentially a instance path of the AJV field. So if I grab this, I will want to ensure that these errors are actually those, right? So in simple words, we need to illustrate that this is actually what the AJV errors expects. So if I actually go to my types, I'm going to introduce that new type, right? So if we go, yeah, if we go to the types, here I'm going to say, hey, I need to do this. I'll say export interface AJV error. Yeah, I don't know how to call this now. We'll see in a moment, right? I don't know what to call this. There's going to be an instance path, which is a string. It would be better, of course, if we could say something like AJV error. What was it? Error object dot. Yeah, but we can't really. Is there some instance path? No. Okay. So we're just going to say it's a string, right? And then the message is also a string. Instance path error, instant path message error. What if we call it like this? Trev, my friend, yeah, I had a good weekend. been outside now with my kid, maybe half an hour ago. We've been out in the playground for like 2 hours, recorded a quick YouTube video, and then, yeah, now I'm with you guys for maybe 2 hours, and I'm gonna hang out with my wife for the rest of the evening. Yeah, and then the problem is that this is basically expecting. So I mean, to some extent, this is almost okay because this actually has an instance path. So this is just a partial thing, right? So you know what? So no. Actually, so when I think about it, this is okay. We don't need to do any of this. So now I remember when I think about it clearly. So we don't need to do it because these two fields are in fact fields, original fields that already exist on this error object from AJV. You can see there's a message. There's an instance path. Just because I'm not using that in the API doesn't mean that you can't pass them, right? You can't. It's just that our current logic in the context of use AJV form hook doesn't really care about the rest of them, because when I'm getting an error, what I'm basically doing, I'm trying to get the field name, trying to get the message, and then set it in the state. So this is perfect, right? So just I don't want to call this set AJV errors, right? I would like the external utility to be called set errors, but we already have internal set errors, right? So what we can do, we can just indicate it in an old-fashioned JavaScript way that it's a private member, right? So because it is private member, so what we can do is let's search for the set errors, and yeah, I'll essentially just underscore it like this. And then we can call this one set errors, indicating that this is an external one that we can actually use to set the errors, right? So we can say set errors, and then we can say set errors like this, right? And we need to update the type, right? The return type of this thing. So if we go here, we'll say set errors exactly, and it's yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, life is all about the balance. One cannot be happy if only one thing in life is enforced, right? It just wouldn't work, right? It seems that the type that I declared isn't correct. What? I just make sure of that. So where is the types here? Yes, that's correct. So what is it complaining about? I mean, I do enjoy it, right? In a different way, right? But it's not the coding itself that makes me do program. It's not the programming that makes me come back to do programming. It's building. So the programming is just a side effect, yeah. What the fuck, man? This is TypeScript being a little bit drunk? Oh, I see. What? I think something is a little bit drunk, right? So set errors is okay. Sooner you focus on building and enjoying that process, sooner you're gonna be happier as a software developer. Because it's the product that you should be really enjoying to build, not the code. Code is a side effect of a product. Rainy, good evening, my friend. Where the fuck do I have this, man? Are you kidding me? Like, sometimes I'm a little bit just genuinely surprised. Like, where is this shit, man? This is the front end, wait. It's literally the same type. What the fuck is happening, man? So weird, man. I don't get it. Like, is this TypeScript server like lagging out or something? This is so fucking dumb, man. Yeah, I think VS Code is like, oh, dude, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Seriously, like. Let's see if the Copilot is able to fix it. Makes no sense. No, but that's not true, man. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, seriously, sometimes this whole ecosystem is just so broken. It's under, like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? This is my set errors in the return type, man. Are you kidding me, man? Like, what is this crap? Like, this is literally what I have it. It's inferring the type from some other place. I have no fucking clue where, man. Like, what is this crap, dude? It's exactly the same type. No? No, this is not the method. I'm looking at the other one. Where's the set errors? It's the same shit, man. Little Leon, good evening, my brother. I see what the fuck is happening. Jesus Christ, man. So why did I export this type? That makes no sense. Why did I do that? And how did that happen even? Alright, so I see now. Man, okay. So we had a partial type there. That was what was breaking my mind. Alright, that's good. That's good. So now we have the set errors. Okay. So now if we do the watch, let's see if we broke the test. So we didn't break the tests, right? But we need to write more tests for this, right? And that's fine. So let's go and we need to test this, right? So we're gonna grab my latest describe block, right? Should properly set errors programmatically using set errors function. Play one game, my friend. Always good to see you. Always happy when you're here. I can never spell this word properly, so I'll just copy paste it. That's a wrong project. That's a wrong project. Where am I from? API. So many things that we have to switch between. All right. So I'm just gonna remove this stuff that I copy pasted now. I think there's just get rid of this as well. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna say, okay, update multiple. No. So let's see, where's my describe block? Okay. Sets the errors using using form.setErrs. Yeah, good. Yeah, Nick, pretty much. Exactly. Exactly. All right, so let's say see now dot set errors. And then essentially here, this has to be an array, right? And this should be instance path, right? Now the problem is, so now I can kind of go back and forth between why I did this the way that I did it, right? You can see now the problem with this set errors now is that it's a partial type, right? It's a partial type, so technically, yeah. So this is not correct because my errors that will originate from the API, because I did this in isomorphic way. So if you guys have checked this library that I open sourced, you will know what I'm talking about. Because technically, yeah, set errors is not really taking this type. It's taking just a little piece of that type. So this is not really an error object. It's just two properties that we need. We need the instance path, and we need the message, right? So I don't actually care in this, and I think my get errors as well doesn't really care because this AJV errors. Yeah, you can see, so I care about the instance path. All right, but anyway, we'll still execute this and just see. So, and then this instance path, I think it was /title, not .title, and then title is required, right? So here, if I just for a moment put this fella, if I put this whole thing right to the right, just so we can see the tests failing, right? So I think we're almost there, right? So here we have to say expect result current state.title.error to be title is required, right? And then as you can see that test passes, right? Because the set errors, obviously it does work properly. Let's now try to set multiple errors. So let's do the same for description. And then we're gonna say description is required, right? So description is required. And then we'll do the same here. We're gonna say description. And then we'll say description is required. And that passes if we just change the string, it should fail, and it does, right? So this set errors works. It's misleading that we're getting the error object, we're just getting the partial thing. So we could technically do a partial type like this. Or let me actually just go to this get errors thing. So are we for sure, because what if instead of giving this error object, we just say something like instance path string message string, and then I guess we'll have to update this fella. Yeah, I think we can do that for sure, yeah. So this field is gonna be instance path, and we'll create that type in a moment, and then also message string, right? So I think we can do what I want. So we go back to get errors again, and then get error message error. It says it's an error object, but is it? But yeah, shit. But then here we're passing error keyword, right? So all right, so never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I have an idea. So instead of no, it's great. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. I know what we're gonna do. And basically now we're just redefining some. I built this library long ago. We just recently open sourced it, right? But I get what we're gonna do. Thank you very much, everybody, for your follow. So so I think this is now complaining that it's missing some mandatory things, a keyword, schema path, and params, right? Let me actually go to what is a schema path? Schema path. The get field name really only uses the instance path, right? The problem here is that get error message method that I implemented, right? Here we are actually expecting an error.keyword, right? And we're expecting that because this this function here I see. Okay, so essentially this is what I'm doing, right? So here I'm saying, hey, try to assign keyword to error.keyword. So in this, if this thing has a keyword, then here I'm trying to get the message function from AJV. Essentially, default AJV messages is my own predefined error messages that I kind of implemented here myself. And then this user-defined messages is the option that consumer of this library can pass to actually have you customize some of the default error messages that I have. These are the default messages here that I defined somewhere in the constant file. I think inside of validation, or where did I put them? I have a constant somewhere. Yeah, here, right? So these are the valid the default error messages that I defined for this library. So if we go back here, right? So I'm saying here try to get the keyword and try to get the error message function. If this is not a function, then return error message function error params. If it is a function, actually do this. Otherwise, if it's not a function, use the error.message, so use the message property from the error. Otherwise, throw unknown validation error, right? So this is kind of meaningful. I think when I did this does make sense. So that's why our test here is actually passing, because we do have a message returns in this partial context here, right? Okay, let me just think for a second more about this. Okay, so that's not a terrible idea, I think. So now the only problem we really have is that, yeah, we are in fact missing some of the properties here. So yeah, well, with that said, technically it doesn't really, so this AJV error can either be this, or can be a partial type, such as instance path and message. And I think it's this fucking Copilot sometimes is dumb as fuck, so that's sometimes the problem. So instance path string message, or this one, right? Okay, let's fix that. Get errors. Yeah, because this get field, and it shouldn't really. This get field really. So okay, so instead of this, really, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna just pass the instance path here, right? We're gonna say, hey, we're gonna pass the instance path here, which is a string, and then we're gonna return a string. So this way, it makes it a little bit easier, right? Then if we go here and we go here, so that error should be gone now, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Wait. And here we're gonna say current dot instance path, so that it should stop complaining about that one. Well, we are building the main product, Leo, every day. I mean, I'm doing this now because I've replied. Programmer Network is now using this library 100%. So I've removed all other. So I'm doing this now because I can fix some of the things that I broke recently by replacing this, right? So none of this is non-related. This is 100% related to this, right? So while it may seem at times that it's not, this is 100% related, right? And actually what I'm going to do, because I can see that we will be using this partial thing, and there's probably a better way to do this in TypeScript that I don't actually care for the most part, right? So what we're going to do, we'll go here and I'll just create a partial tab. I'm going to say export interface air object partial, and I'm just gonna give it this, right? And then here I'm gonna say error object partial, and then now actually, so this is not terrible. This is so this is actually pretty good, because now we can be safe, we can be smarter about our code. And this is where TypeScript often, especially in libraries like this, helps a lot, right? Because you can see here now that error, because this guy is complaining now because error really only exists, this dot keyword only exists on the actual error object of this type, not on the partial one, right? So here we know that we cannot just cast this, right? Because this might not be a key of this, right? So here we have to say if, you know, I don't know if I guess we can say type of error is error object. I don't actually know if we can do this in TypeScript like this, then do this, but error object actually is so we can say, exactly, right? So so we basically have to say here, we have to ask a question, hey, if error dot, thank you everybody for your follows. So what we have to do is we have to ensure if this error is this, then it's this, otherwise we're gonna set it to null or something like that, right? Or undefined. So and we can maybe early return actually here. So we can say if error dot what is it, keyword, yeah, but why is TypeScript kind of working against me here? This makes no sense, because it's either this or this, right? It still doesn't get it, right? That I'm asking, hey, that it might be this or that. Okay, that's super weird. I would expect it to understand what the fuck am I talking about. Unless, give me a second. No, it's fine, it's okay. Okay, let me just do one thing here. It doesn't matter. I don't think that's gonna fix it, right? I think the problem here is the casting of things, right? I think now, because we can use has own property, it doesn't matter. I don't think that's gonna fix it, right? And there's no has in JavaScript. I never use has. So, but it doesn't matter. That's not the point here, right? We could try if object dot product type dot has own property, call this, right? But you can see that even now it doesn't really get it, right? Super surprising, honestly, right? What the hell? I'm just, well, we're not building any new functionality now. We're just, I open sourced bunch of stuff, and now I've installed the things that I turned into different modules, and now I'm trying to use it, right? So now, and now I'm just fine tuning. I mean, you can use that's not the point, right? It's not about checking. That's not the problem here. I can ask if an object has some property in 10 different ways, right? But that's not the problem here. The problem is the TypeScript is now just inferring this type, and it's neglecting that this error can be of one or the other type, right? So let's ask ChatGPT, because now I don't know if it's me fucking up, which is probably my lack of competence in that sense. Let's ask my Jean-Claude Jean-Code 1 debug, which is my own. I want to check this by also checking which type the error is, either the object error or the partial one. Well, it's a really terrible code. No, I don't think this is gonna work. I mean, this is the same crap, right? So I don't think this is gonna work. I see. All right, so actually, yeah, I think we're gonna solve it like this, right? But it's a wrong question here. So if type of error is an object, type of error is always an object here. So that's a little strange, right? So this is what we want to do, right? So if it doesn't have the keyword, that means in this context, right? Oh my god, complex is here again. Oh no. Oh no. I'll start with one misclick. How's your week been? My friend, good evening. Actually, Complex I think was my first viewer. I think Complex was my first viewer, and he's the guy that has been hating me the most of all people, and also not a guy who couldn't live without me at the same time. Good evening, buddy. Good to see you. He is a legend. He used to troll the stream. He used to be the king of this stream, and then he got sick of me. And I don't blame him. I got sick of myself for all of this time, right? Alright, so now it's fixed, right? Now we got it. Do I like this? I do not like this. I do not like it because... How you been, man? How you been, dude? I thought about you so many times, man, in the past couple of streams, because a lot of you guys that used to hang out here a lot, I think you got sick of me. And then, you know, you're not around, which is understandable. Again, I'm sick of myself as well. But what's up in your life, dude? How is work? How is everything? Have you been traveling? Leo, I expect you to be here forever. Okay, so basically this is nice, right? Now we can actually get rid of this bad boy here, which actually doesn't seem to like it. Give me a second. So if there's an error, type of error is an object, and the error doesn't have its keyword, then return error message or unknown validation error. That's correct, right? It's a little bit weird though that yeah, that's a little bit weird. Wait, this worries me a bit. I'm grown here. And why is this question necessary, right? We know that the error is always an object. Okay, it's a good way to yeah, but we don't actually need it, right? Okay, so if this is the case, right, then we know that if error doesn't have a keyword, it's this partial type. And then we have the error object, right? We say this, blah, blah. Is this not needed now, considering that, yeah, so we no longer need that, right? Error message function. I mean, this is not terrible, right? So this is not terrible, right? The only worry now that I have, I'm using the normal theme. I'm using the dark theme, dark modern, default dark modern with a background extension. So the only reason, so bear with me here. So the only reason I dislike this is that even though we wrote this properly, right? We wrote this properly. I think that it's the reason why this is dangerous, right? Is that the reason why this is dangerous is because we're basing this whole logic on a premise that if an error doesn't have a keyword, that it's this partial type, right, that I created here. And this would work for programmer network because that's how, right? Now, yeah, I don't think that's necessarily correct, right? Yeah, this is all kind of correct and this all works. As you can see, my tests are passing and all of that. It's just a little bit strange that I make this very strong assumption that if there's no keyword, that there is, for example, a message, right? So this could be done a little bit better, more safer, I think, at the very least, right? Because this thing exists, so I wish that it's always this type. But then from my API, as you saw, right, I would literally then have to... So let's just think a little bit about this because I care very much about this, right? Because you can see in my Fastify API, because I'm kind of using this library that I wrote, this use AJV form, you can find it on my own NPM. You can see that my API, whenever it can, it's going to return this type of validation error, this AJV validation error that I introduced. It's a custom error, right? And it only really returns the instance path and a message. To mitigate this, right, what we could do is we could programmatically use the AJV library to properly generate the full error, like the full AJV error, which is basically this error object, right? Like the keyword, the instance path, the schema path, right? So maybe that would be better because I wouldn't even be spending any time here, right, if this wasn't now a library, because this use AJV form, I built this only for programming network, and now it's an open source thing, and I'm for sure gonna use it with other projects. I'm already using it at Dream Data where I work. So I think it would be nice, instead of me now introducing this partial type, is that instead in these places in my API where I'm throwing this error, and it's not too many places, it's like 29 results, right? Maybe in these places I could technically generate a full-fledged object that gets returned to the front end. In that way, right, then the use AJV form would just use its generic type, meaning I wouldn't need this partial type anymore, which is this crap in here, right? Yeah, I think maybe that is better. Even though it's more work for me, that way I can then just fully rely on the internals of AJV without me needing to create this custom function, right? So it's just we need to figure out how would we actually generate this error, right? So I would need to programmatically like use AJV. Give me a second. Where could I try that? Like, what if I come here and I say AJV dot... No, wait a minute. So if I go to my actual hook, literally, right? This hook that this is the library that I wrote, right? So if I say AJV dot, I guess, yeah, we can run the compile. So we would, yeah, I think I remember now. I think I remember. So we would have to compile some schema, whatever. So it would be a combination of validate, calling the validate that would then fail, and then that would output that specific error that has the keyword and all of that crap, right? Let me actually, let's ask ChatGPT, how do I programmatically throw an error using AJV? In simple words, say that I want to generate an AJV error object. Because if we figure this now, then the trajectory of this library will then remove this partial type. Then I'm going to go to my API, and then I will literally just, instead of manually having that, I will... yeah, but that's the problem. It doesn't get me. Yeah. Yes, but that's the entire point. I don't want to generate these errors manually or create some utilities that fake this. I want to generate it using the AJV library, right? So that's the whole point. That's the whole point, right? And this is kind of, yeah, so we will have to abstract a lot of this crap, right? So this is the, yeah, and now, right, is valid. So now we will basically have AJV.errors here. And that's great, right? So in simple words, in those places in my API where I'm doing this, right? Right, so in these places like this, we would have to have some function, some abstraction, right, where we give it a little piece of schema, and we literally enforce the error itself. Let's do that. I think I've decided in my mind already, so we're gonna do that. So with that said, right, with that said, Ambit, my friend, good evening. It's going really well, man. How are you? So we're gonna actually get rid of this. So we're just gonna have this thing, so that partial shit is going away. Let's actually just remove it so it's not polluting the space here. Alright, so that's good. So it likes that now. So now, just for this test, we literally need to generate a full-fledged error, right? So I literally need to do something like this. I just need to give it all of this stuff that it's really complaining about, right? And we can do that just for the sake of the test, even though you can see that the test is passing, right? So it's probably missing now keyword, required and all of that. And the reason why that is so, right, is because we will have this generated automatically by our AJV in the API. So, right, so let's just do this data. So none of this actually is mandatory, and we're gonna do the same here, right? We're gonna say keyword required, params whatever, schema required, and I guess that's it, right? Expected title is required to be title is required. Okay, let's see now what the hell is, why is the test failing? So instance path title is required. Missing property, wait, is it this? All right, let's actually see what the hell. No, not really Ambit. No, we just in the libraries that I wrote, right? All of my libraries past 10 years, if they were JavaScript, they were written in TypeScript. It's just the programmer network front end is still in JavaScript. Expected title is required to be title is required. That's a little bit weird. Okay, I see what's happening now. It's because now, so now because we're providing the full-fledged object, right? It's now basically the errors are now basically coming from our own library, from the AJV itself, right? Because now we have the message set here like this. Yeah, so this is now a little bit weird. So this is kind of good because this test is now passing, but that makes kind of no sense, right? So you can see that there's a huge discrepancy here. Messaging here is this, but then we're expecting the title to be this, right? So that kind of makes no sense. Yeah, because you can see now that this really is generating a default kind of this is generating the what is it called, the default AJV errors, right? So if we go back to this get errors now, right? So we get a field name current instance path. That's okay. Ah shit, shouldn't have closed that. Give me a second. And yeah, I shouldn't actually have this here anymore, right? Okay, let's now read it out. So error message function, let's print this. I'm sure that this error message function now will be something because we're giving it. So let's scroll up here. So error message function is here, right? Error message function, we pass it the object params. Let's say error object dot params. And here is missing property description, right? Okay. So that's cool. Ah, you can see what's happening. So that is kind of fine, right? This is fine, right? Because okay, so actually no, I'm actually very happy. Oh, I'm gonna link it now with you, and then you can try using it. We're gonna push this now. So this is actually really good. This is really good because so no, actually everything works as expected, right? Everything works as expected. That's awesome. Okay, because in fact it is correct, right? It's just that now it's using my default messages simply because I'm not overriding it with anything, right? So for example, you can see these are some default messages that I provided in the library itself for the most common things that the user might have. You can see that, for example, one thing that I would expect here is to be to uppercase, right? So now my tests are gonna fail, which means that now I could do this technically and this, and they should pass again, I think. Let's see. Oh no, because I'm using not yeah, never mind, ignore me, because uppercase is gonna uppercase the whole letter, right? Whole word, right? We need like case whatever thing, right? Okay, never mind. So that's actually working well. So we're gonna just write one more test with custom keywords, right? So we're gonna set the error using form stat without having any custom AJV. What did I call this in the library? Custom AJV without any user-defined messages. And then we're going to do the same. Then we're going to do the same. So, but we're going to say with user-defined messages. And in here, as part of the library, right, I'm going to pass it the third argument as I did this. And I'm going to say user... actually, am I passing it at the right place? Where's my use form? This is my schema. Where am I passing it? Ah, here, sorry. So here I'm going to say now user-defined messages, and I'm going to say required, and I'm going to say monkey message, right? And yeah, so this should now actually be failing, and it's not. So that's a little bit worrying. Because user-defined messages now should actually be taking this required thing and overriding the other thing. So let's take a look at that. Maybe we didn't test that last time. So user-defined messages here of keyword. So this thing now should be using the user-defined messages, right? So let's see here. Am I actually passing any? User-defined messages is undefined. Okay, that is interesting. That is interesting, okay? Okay, user-defined messages, AJV errors, get errors. Okay, let's see. Maybe that is the problem. So here we're passing user-defined messages. We are also passing here user-defined messages. Let's see if they're actually passed to the component at all. So options.user-defined messages. Why would you learn C? I mean, you should learn every language if you want for fun. It will not make any difference, no. I think you're being influenced. I know why you're asking this question, because there's this guy who is now writing C on YouTube, and he's now influencing you guys, right? I can literally see the patterns in people's behavior in this stream almost every month. People see some of these trends, right? I actually literally recorded a video on that today, Ambit. You should watch it on YouTube. It's incredible how much people are getting influenced by things which are just useless terribly, right? So user-defined messages are actually passed here, so that's good. Then here we have the get errors. Here we have the user-defined messages inside of get errors. User-defined messages, let me print them here. Why the fuck is this undefined? Give me a second. Well, I mean, it's undefined in many places reasonably, because we're not, but it should not be undefined everywhere, right? Wait, maybe we're, okay, no, never mind. So it's, wait, never mind. Sorry, ignore me. So this should now fail, right? And reasonably so. I just need to now to ensure, right, that this is in fact passed properly, right? So options should user-defined messages, yes, user-defined messages. I wonder, maybe it should not be a function, maybe it should just be a property. No, but it should be a function, right? And then we return the monkey message, right? So that's also fine, right? Use AJV form. We're giving it user-defined messages, right? This library is open source, yes. This specific, not programmer network codebase, no. This library is open source. I just shared it somewhere. I just shared a link somewhere. I can share it again. I'll also share it in YouTube as well. Alright, so going back to this, so let's see what the hell is happening. So options, yes. User-defined messages, yes. We're passing it here to validate field. Then where are we? Where else are we calling get errors? To validate form. We're passing it here as well. So that's good. Oh, okay, so we're not passing it here. So options, user-defined messages. Okay, now our tests are passing. Great. So this is good. Okay, so we can actually see that we are now overriding the message with monkey message too, right? So that's good. Great. Okay, so I think that's it. I think now we can push this new version. My pleasure. My pleasure. So you can see now that we can pretty much deploy this new thing now. I like it. I think this is what I needed. The tests are passing. Let's just clean up some of the stuff here. And actually, one thing that I'm going to do that I forgot doing before, I think there was another thing that didn't work that I really need to do, because I've noticed when testing before that some things were not working properly. So this get error message. So if we ever actually get here to unload to unknown validation error, I want to do something with that. So here in get errors, right? So if this returns unknown validation error, which is just a message, right? Let me actually see here. Wait. So get error message. Get error message. Get error message. So we call that in get errors field name of current. Okay, never mind. Let's leave it for now. Let's leave it for now. I don't have a good idea formed in my head yet. Okay, so that's really good. That's really good. I like that. Let me just think. Okay, there is actually one thing that came to mind. So we have this validate form now. We have this form dirty. Give me a second. Where is it? Set errors. Yes. Set form state. Validate field. Never mind. Okay, that's good. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we have to bump this version to version 13. We will, yeah, we'll just commit this. So the tests are passing. What else did we do? Yeah, we did a little bit of changes here, so we can expose the set errors outside types. Error object, blah, 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 set errors, that's correct. Good. Let me just safeguard ourselves against there. So let's just run the tests again. So that's good. Just as we're reviewing this, let's see if there's something that we can improve. So we cast this to our object. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually know why is that needed, but that's what it is. Yeah, I like that. Okay. So let's say here, expose set errors function from use HAV form. So that's cool. Let's Let's publish this to npm. What the fuck? Authenticate your account? What are you talking about, man? Thank you, everybody. This one, I have a video on it, I think. Give me a second. Authenticator. I need to enter my two-factor authentication here. Okay, great. Okay, did it actually deploy it? It said that it didn't, but sometimes this thing just fails randomly. Let's see. If we go to use AJV form, so I think it did deploy it. Here's the latest version. So a few seconds ago, right? So if we go to, yeah, I think it's fine. So now if we go to our front end, to our front end application here, right? Use AJV form programmer network. We'll just bump this here now to, let's say PMPMI programmer network use AJV form. 1 to 13. And that should be fine. All right, beautiful. That's great. Let's just reload this window. And hello, Bratton. Good evening, buddy. How are you doing? Let's open this new workspace that I started using, right? Programmer network workspace. So let's open the workspace. Let's close up those individually open projects. Use AJV form. I don't think we no longer need it. And then let's just press F5 to run all of this now. The debuggers, both front end and back end, and then the debugger as well. And then we can figure this out. Okay, so now if I actually go to this card that I made off stream, so somewhere in my front end I had this thing. Set AJV errors. So this was one of the places. So this is now called set errors. You can see now that we actually have it. So was there any other place where I was programmatically doing this? Very good, man. Very good. Building websites and not knowing CSS it would just be very irresponsible. So very, very, very good, man. That's amazing. Okay, great. So that's good, right? So now we have this set errors, and that's great. And also people who want to use this library also have it as well. Now one thing that we have to do. So actually, this is both done. Actually, yes, this is all done. So actually, no, I've done this. So that's great. We can mark this as done. Now what we actually have to do, we have to go to our API, and so I had to just adjust some of the libraries that we released recently, Marv. I had to redeploy this now. Just needed to expose another function from it called set errors, so you can actually set the, because as you can see when I build this library, it says here isomorphic usage, ideal for projects utilizing AJV on both backend with Node or Fastify. Because I built this library initially just for programmer network because I'm using Fastify, which naturally uses AJV for validation, and I'm also using AJV in the front end. And then I build this hook that you can seamlessly really just reuse the validation from both your front end and your back end, right? Yes, I did know that, Fullbringer. They also improved that in the recent version of VS Code, but I don't do that. I don't use any of them. I just use Redux and built-in tools. I'm not trying out those new libraries. I don't care, actually. I mean, I will try them out once I have problems with the current ones that I'm using. Currently, I don't have any problems with the things that I'm currently using, so there's no point switching to things unless I have a problem. So once I have a problem, I will try them out. Right now, I don't have a problem. What is the process? I mean, you can sign up on Programmer Network right now. What do you mean? you can go to Programmer Network now and you can just sign up, right? You can go, I mean, if you go to www.programmer network, you can click here and you can sign in with anything, GitHub, Twitch, or LinkedIn, or you can sign up with a password then, right? Yeah, of course I did choose that because nothing like this exists. I chose to build it because there's no hook out there that utilizes AJV form schema, right? So it's not that I built it because I had nothing better to do. I built it is because it doesn't exist, right? Forming has nothing to do with this. Zero. Use AJV form. Use AJV form is a hook that utilizes the schema that I also have in my backend, right? So it's not that I build this, right? It's more like, so this thing, you can, those same schemas you can now isomorphically share between your backend and frontend, because those same schemas I use in my API. So every single endpoint in my API is utilizing these, right? So that is the value of using this library that I wrote, is that if you have already validated your entire Fastify API, now you can also, validate your frontend in the same way, just by feeding it to this hook. You create a form object, you give it a schema, and boom, now in your frontend you have the same validation, everything. You can reuse the custom AJV keywords that you might have created. So I've kind of incorporated all of that into this library. And again, this was built for Programmer Network and it has been used in Programmer Network past year, right? So I had a long time to fail with it, to improve it, to figure out what I need. And as you can see here in all of these things that I wrote in the README, right? The biggest problem with this thing, Formic and all of this bullshit, is that the biggest problem with some of these libraries is that they're too complex because they try to solve everything. This thing that I built is incredibly simple, which is why I personally love it. You create your form object here, and that's it. You say, hey, this is my form, this is my state, and this is the schema against you should validate this state. And here you can pass additional options that you can find here in the bottom, right? And that's really it. And now how do you use this form object with your inputs is completely up to you. As I wrote here a simple example, you can create a higher order component that can inject these props for you. I don't do that. I'm using it completely manually in Programmer Network. Or you can just say, you can use a simple input and say input value is form.state.title.value. Same goes with the error on Blur, form.onBlur.title, and you're done. And then, right, so how you do this, how do you render the values, the errors and stuff, it's completely up to you, right? You can pass third-party keywords, yes, custom AJV keywords, right? So as you can see, for example, I've wrote another library, isomorphic thing that I'm currently using, so I can actually show it to you. Where is it? Let me just go through all of this crap here. Yeah, Programmer Network AJV, right? So for example, these are my custom validators. And these custom validators, this is also fully unit tested and everything. These custom validators is what I use for both front-end and back-end. So if you go here to keywords, you can see, for example, is YouTube URL. So this custom validator is basically a little function that determines if the URL that you pasted is a valid YouTube URL. Then if you go basically to utils here, so if I go here to string utils, right, and string utils, you can probably find there's tests for these. Where is the tests? Keywords tests, right? But you can open this and figure it out yourself. But the point is, yeah, the whole beauty of AJV another JSON validator is that you can create custom validators, right? And then you can just say type and then the name of your custom validator, and now your input is validated against it, right? So this is awesome, right? I think all of these things that I built, they're pretty awesome things, actually. Pretty powerful things. Why? Because they're super simple and very extensive. You can extend this easily. I use VS Code. TipTap.js, TipTap, yeah. All right, so going back to this, so what did I want to do? Oh yeah, so now what we have to figure out in our API, right, is we need to figure out with those AJV things, right? So if I go, let me just close this crap. So if we, inside of this workspace, if I go and go to error handler something, right, I have, yeah, so this custom validation error that I'm throwing, right, let me see where I use this. Jesus Christ, man. Come on. All right, here it is, right? So there's a bunch of places now where we're throwing this error, right? Where I'm manually throwing this stuff. Not really manual. This is beautiful. I mean, this is super pretty. So you can see I'm returning this AJV validation error to my UI because my use AJV form can show this error naturally by default, right? So when my front end receives an error like this from the API, in simple words, I need you can do that, Marv, with this. That's the whole point. There's no limitations to AJV, right? If you need some custom validator, you go and you create it. The only difference is that now, once you register the custom keyword with your AJV instance, you can reuse that keyword across your whole code base. So you can create any validator. You can create a validator called banana, and now when you're defining your schema, your AJV, your JSON schema, you can say type banana. And now, so of course you can do that. It's really completely up to you what you want to do, right? Okay, so this AJV validation error now, what we really need to do in here, I mean, we can create something completely from scratch now, or we can kind of turn this into that AJV thing that's going to throw the full error. So pretty much what we validated with when going back and forth with Jean-Code1 debug, right? So if I go to, is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one, right? Yeah. So if you take a look at Jean-Code1 debug, right, this is pretty much what we have to do, right? We will just need to provide some sort of schema or whatever whenever we're throwing the error. That's kind of success, but it actually throws a proper AJV error, right? Okay, so let's try to save some time here because this is a very simple stuff. Can you turn this piece of code into what you suggested above? In simple words, I'd want to generate this in a way you proposed. And I think this is very good because now our AJV, now our library actually always takes the same error type, which is the error object original type, right? And that is very good. That is very good. Yeah, okay. This is obviously gonna, so this is, yeah, I think this is gonna be great. So in my API, we're gonna change this to this. In my API, I'm not using TypeScript, so we're gonna get rid of the types. We do this. There's something wrong with, and then obviously we need some AJV instance. I suppose I can import AJV from somewhere. I suppose I do have, yeah, AJV instance manually defined somewhere, right? Do I? No, not really, right? But I'm sure that I do somewhere. Let's see, AJV validation. I genuinely thought that I had it somewhere. Yeah, I do have it here. Import AJV, right? Programmer network AJV, right? Yes. So I guess we... I see what's happening here. Yeah, I see what's happened. That's fine, right? because we have this AJV instance on the instance of the actual Fastify, right? So that's kind of a little bit problematic here, but it doesn't really matter. I think we don't even need this. It's okay, right? So what did I change here? Nothing. Okay, let's just save that. So if I go here, I guess we could just import the AJV, but does that's a class, right? Is that a constructor or something? Let's see. Yeah, I guess it is. Right? Are we doing this anywhere in the project? I think we are doing this somewhere. Yeah, we have notification system here, right? No, so it's okay. It's okay. I'm just thinking out loud here a little bit, but I think that's great. So where did I do this now? New AJV. All errors true. So, or maybe we can just export it here from the utils. And then, where the hell did I do this now? Jesus Christ, man. No, 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 no. So where was this file that I had opened? Shit. Oh, yeah, yeah. So where was this? Where was this? AJV error. AJV validation error. Yeah, this guy. And I'm not going to create another instance, so maybe I should have just reused the actual singleton of this, but it doesn't matter. Now I guess we can import this from somewhere, I hope so. AJV config, no, okay, never mind. Let's just create a new object, it's okay. Okay, and then AJV.validate, right? Yeah, that's correct. And then here we would have to actually give it the data, right? In certain places where we are programmatically doing this. So if I go here, so yeah, this is what I've been doing before, right? And this is a little bit problematic because now it expects the data here, and we can't really give it an image because you can see here we're saying, hey, the request file is too large, so I cannot give it an image here. So we have somehow have to yeah, that kind of sucks a little bit, right? I mean, you know what, we actually genuinely don't even need to change any of this. This is still gonna work. It is just that yeah, it would be maybe better if we can fully create a full-fledged error object, AJV error object, right? This is, I'm sure, still gonna work, and still with this partial type of thing. And I think the best way to actually check that now would be if we go and try to log in, let's locally, because we haven't deployed this yet. If we try to log in locally, right, and see if we mistype the actual email or whatever. So I say this and this, invalid password provided. Okay, if I say hi, Alexander XYZ, and this invalid password provided, as you can see, is a partial thing I'm getting from my API, right? So sign in, give me a second. So filter is on. So you can see here that this is coming as a payload, as a response, as an AJV validation error, instance path, email inquiry. So you can see even now with this new thing that we installed, that with the partial error. So actually we don't really have to change anything in the API. It still works. It is just that, yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's super good. That's great. That's amazing. Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do, we'll deploy this. this little change, which is this bump of the library. So we bump this library and we're gonna improve that. So I'm gonna push that. Nothing has changed in the API. So bump use AJV form to 0.13, right? So let's deploy that. Sync changes. If I go now to, where is this library that we just, which one is it? Programmer network. Yale, where is it? Use AJV form. So this one, right? It should be. Okay, so this is good. Wait a minute, did I deploy, did we push this? Oh, sorry, this is the front end. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Jesus Christ, okay. So let's go here. And let's go to Cloudflare pages. It should be building now. Yep, here it is. All right, cool. Deploying to Cloudflare's global network. Upload complete. Cool. Beautiful. Let me just go to production, make sure that I can that things still work. All right, it does. Beautiful. Okay, cool. That's great. That's good. Okay, so we are done with that one, I think. We're done with that one. We're done with that one. All right, so until I figure out what we're gonna do next today, let's chat a little bit. Let's chat maybe for 5-10 minutes. Let's see if people have anything to chat about. Is there some questions that I can answer? Now is the time. YouTube and Twitch both. If there's something I can answer, then we continue building something. So let's see if people have anything to ask now, because there were a few questions that I think I ignored because I was building this. Is there anybody that I can? Is there anybody has any questions or whatever? How you handle authentication in your front end? You would need to be a little bit more specific about that, about the question. When you say how do I, if you mean how I implemented it, I implemented it manually. I'm not using auth0.com or anything like that. I'm just using username and password I implemented. How you handle the initial load? Shit, I'm sorry, Obi, but I don't know what that means. What do you mean by initial load? But happy to chat about that. You just need to be a little bit more specific, because I'm not sure what is initial load in the context. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can try to. I guess you're talking about the UI and how, when is UI like this or like that. I guess, yeah, I'm trying to decipher through your words, right? So I guess you're asking, how can users see certain things without being logged in? And that's simply by having business logic in your front end and having some is user authenticated Boolean that determines if user is logged in or not, right? I guess that's what you're asking, right? So you're gonna have some global state either in your Redux or in some state machine or some state that's the highest state in your app, and that state is going to contain a value called is user logged in or whatever, or is user authenticated, whatever. And then based on that value, you're going to base the rest of your UI and then what's visible or not to authenticated or non-authenticated users. And then also the same would apply if you have user roles. So this role can see this, you know, a user might be an admin or whatever. And then how do you initialize the whole thing on the first render? Well, I mean, I check if the user logged in. Is user logged in, right? When the user comes to the page, I do an API call, and that's how. That is how. So when you go to programmer network, I call an endpoint, and if that endpoint returns, let's say null or whatever, hey, user isn't logged in, then that flag is set to false, you know, user isn't logged in, right? Right? So whenever somebody visits your website, that person is going to be in some loading state, right? There's always some loading state happening, which then becomes some other state, right? So whenever you go somewhere, something is loading because things are asynchronous, right? Like when you visit a page, well, I mean, I wouldn't really go into UI details. UI details are irrelevant, right? Is it going to be a login page or some other page? But yes, if the API returns that user isn't logged in, then you're going to set some again boolean in your UI saying, hey, user actually, so page is no longer loading. Is the user logged in? It isn't. Okay, then render this. Otherwise, render this something else, right? So yes, if the endpoint /me or whatever returns, exactly, you can see it in programmer network that my endpoint returns 200, but the user is set to null. So user isn't logged in, right? Which means that, yeah, the state in the global state is going to be set to, user is not going to be set in that state, meaning the user isn't logged in. ABD, good evening, buddy. How are you? So yes, OB, that's correct. There are several ways. Of course, this gets a little bit easier if you're using server-side rendering, right? Because then your server is rendering your page. So obviously this is not necessary in this context. But with applications like this one, this is not a monolith application. The API and front end are completely separate, right? Then it's a little bit different. I didn't get notified. Good evening, Ayla. Ayla Croft. Do you think it's a good approach to return 401 from the? No, I don't think it's a good approach, because then you're getting errors in your client, right? You're getting too many errors then, right? And crawlers and things, they don't like errors, right? So I mean, 401 or 403 is a great, it's a great HTTP status code for everything other than, when a user comes to your web page, right? I initially had 401, I think. But then that was too annoying because I was getting too many errors, right? Hey, which, right? Well, yeah. What do you mean? What about SEO? You mean it's better, but it's better by some percentage, yes, for sure. But it's not that much better as people claim, right? So it's not 10 times better. It's maybe 2 times better, right? So yes, it's indeed server-side rendering or static pages are generally easier crawled than AJAX calls or whatever, or HTTP calls, right? For sure, yes. There's always a trade-off, right? If your product is absolutely based on having perfect server-side optimization, right? Sorry, search engine optimization, then for sure you want to server-side render some things, not all of the things, or even all of the things, yes. There isn't really much to discuss about SEO, right? I mean, SEO, there's a lot of self-proclaimed SEO experts out there, but SEO really is about content, right? So you can do all of the tricks, all of the, you can go to Google or ChatGPT and find top 10 tricks. All of that is cool, but without content, there's no SEO, right? So fundamentally, what determines the value of your site and how well you rank is the content that you have on it, right? That's why every company webpage has a blog and stuff like that. So you cannot be ranked well on the search engines without content, right? So no matter what you do, you can have all the perfect optimization, you can have perfect load times, you can have whatever you have, right? But fundamentally, without content, SEO is meaningless, right? So it's. Yeah, I mean that's generic stuff, right? We have a sitemap here and program network and all of that, but again, content really is the king. If you want to be highly ranked, then yeah, you need content, right? Without content, it's meaningless, right? I think for us at Programmer Network, I think Programmer Network has been ranking better and better. I think. Give me a second. Copy. I think we've been ranked better and better as the time goes by. Give me a second. Let's take a look at that together. So if we take a look at our performance, right? So actually I think it went a little bit worse maybe past 2-3 days. I think we were our average position 17. And I mean, we also have very little content, right? But as you can see, average position is 18. Position 13, position 10. What is this? I don't actually get it. Clicks. Sitemaps. Yeah, pages. Yeah. That's how it is. All right, so let's see if there's something else we want to do today or not. Let me just close up this crap. So what else could we do today? So I think what we will actually have to do very soon in the stream, and to some degree I'm looking forward to that. I still need to think about it a little bit, but I think that we will have to implement this notification system. I think it was called shit, what was it called? Give me a second. I don't remember. Let me find it. Man, what was it called? Nobu, yeah. So I think at one point we will have to actually implement these notifications, because right now we don't have these so-called external bumpers. When somebody likes some of your stuff in Programmer Network, right? There isn't really. I mean, we could easily implement that, maybe, right? As well. I could just whenever some notification actually in the API happens. Let's actually open up notifications in the API. Where do we have that? So API notifications, right? So if we take a look at the controller here, get notifications, toggle red, but then we must have some new notifications somewhere, right? Setup notifications, yeah, notification system, yes. And then, yeah, so here we have notify, validate call, find schema, notify follow, right? So in these places we could really send an email. So whenever somebody likes your stuff or whatever, we could maybe just, yeah, you could get an email. So maybe in one of the next streams we should maybe just extend our existing notification system, is where you can kind of opt in, you know, if you want your notifications. So when somebody actually likes your article, posts a comment or whatever, you actually get notified of that, right? So we'll actually have to take a look into that as well. But I don't think we're gonna get there yet. I think I still need to do, we still need to use Yale, right? So we need to put a little bit more work into this and really remove all the existing components from the programmer network. So I think that's probably gonna be what we're gonna continue working on. Okay, so I genuinely actually don't know what to do now, so I think we're gonna probably round it up. I know that we have to fix this button. This is annoying me a lot. So yeah, I think let me just no, Minix is coming when I have to leave. Jesus Christ. Let me just do this. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, this is better. Numinax. What's up, buddy? Perfect timing, yeah. It's Sunday, man. I want to be a little bit with my wife and my kid. But we'll continue tomorrow for sure. How you doing, my friend? How was your weekend? How was your weekend? Not a basement dweller anymore. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think we're all basement dwellers to a huge degree, right? Nice, man. With the friends, that's pretty cool. That must be super fun. That must be super fun. What are you guys building? What are you building? Yeah, for sure, man. For sure, dude. Especially, I will watch some movie. Yeah, I'm gonna hang out with my wife a little bit and then, yeah, you know, do something else. Yeah, let's open it up on the stream. Give me a second. Main. Let me just hide this camera, wait, because now we can't see shit. So this is something basically like a RabbitMQ or yeah. So you're building a messaging system, right? RabbitMQ, got it. I got it. Okay, cool, man. That's really good. This is amazing. So which one of these guys is you? Are you one of the contributors here or what? Is this you? With the dragon, I'm not sure what you mean. Are you the network guy? I don't know what that means, man. The dragon. Ah, this guy. Numinax. Numinax. Nice. How dare you write C#, man? That's not even a language that's been out, that came out 3 days ago, man. How dare you? How dare you use a well-established language that works for 20 years? Are you even a programmer? Unacceptable. How dare you use a well-tested software that works for 25 years? How dare you? Yeah, man, it is. C# is a beautiful language, man. But this is super cool, man. This is super cool, dude. I like this. This is amazing, dude. That's great. I mean, congrats, man. This looks super good, man. Yeah, this is amazing, dude. This is super nice. This is actually, we might even try using this in programmer network, man. This is super cool, dude. Super cool. So I mean, I used to work as a Cisco engineer, but this stream has nothing to do with this. I'm building a platform called programmer.network. That link that no, I mean, look, this is great, man. I mean, this has things like this are things that our infrastructures are built on, right? So that's great, man. Keep it up. This is really good. This is great. Just keep the work up, man. This is good to have you, man, Japanese guy. Thank you for coming to the stream, man. Yeah, this stream is not about computer networks, but we do that as well. We do that as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just queues, right? It's just queues, right? And obviously a bunch of other stuff. And then you're using a low-level language which has a low overhead, right? So it makes sense, right? You would want to, this is what languages like C and Rust and even C++, right? Sure, got it. I mean, I don't know. I would not dare to pretend that I understand this now, right? I would have to deep dive into it, right? But generally, right, it's a good choice of language. I guess that's what I mean, right? This sort of stuff you definitely want to build in a language as low as possible, right? Definitely C, Rust, even C++, right? Definitely 100%. Very cool, man. Well, keep us updated, man, Numinex, as this goes by. I'm very happy to test this out, right? Super cool. And you have 700 stars, so that's great. So you can see there's interest for this type of stuff for sure, right? Have I ever written Rust? I tried Rust when it came out. I tried it I tried it 6 or 7 years ago. Oh, 5 or 6 years ago at Airtime when I worked. I tried it with Elvis, this friend of mine who was here. If you remember, he was here a couple of streams ago. We bought the first Rust book and we tried it, but it's not about trying the language. It's about having something to build with it. There is nothing right now that I need Rust for, right? I'm not building tools that I need such a language for, right? So that's just how it is, right? So it's more about, right? It's all about having something to build with a certain language, right? I'm not building things like that right now. So that is the thing, right? That's the thing, right? Your English is fine, man. You shouldn't be uncomfortable, man. I mean, there's a bunch of different nations and people in this stream, right? So feel like you're at home. None of us are native English speakers, right? So none of us are perfect. Did you see CSS wrap? No, I don't know what that is. No, I can already see that I don't care. What is CSS wrapped? What is that? Is this it, Leo? Yeah, I mean, this looks like a good resource. I might research this. I might read this. Typography, color level 4. But what is this? What is this about? I mean. Oh, wow. Did we get a... Oh, wow. But wait, do we have a native popovers now? Oh, wow, man. This is... I didn't actually... I'm usually very up to date with all the browser APIs. Okay, Firefox doesn't support it yet. Wow, this is super cool, man. This is super cool. This is, yeah, I mean, I was waiting for this for more than a decade, this type of stuff. So that's really good. We should probably, in one of the next streams, we should play with this a little bit. Maybe we should aggregate this resource together. But yeah, this is good. This is good to see. In terms of view transitions, HR and select. Yeah, I mean, finally, Jesus Christ, man. Took 30 years, man. Took 30 fucking years to get a horizontal rule in this. This is also super good, man. Yeah, finally, man. Again, Polymer.js and things like that, native web components were supposed to really mitigate all of this. It's just unfortunately that idea has kind of failed. Exclusive accordion. Wow, okay, what? Okay, wow, this is cool, man. It's good to kind of see some of these things coming to the browser, right? You see here, yeah, you can basically build the accordion now pretty much in, yeah, that's nice. That's good. That's great, man. Okay, what is I mean, has exists for a long time, so what is... Man, yeah, this is a huge thing, right? This is a huge thing, yeah. This is really good, yeah. This is very... So some of these new things to the browser are amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a while, right? It's going to take a while until this is supported across the browsers, right? Because we can see this is a Chrome team making a step forward, so that's good. But yeah, it's going to take a while until, you know, major browsers... Well, actually, I guess, so when it comes to Edge, the Edge is fine because Edge is based on Chromium, so Edge is gonna, I'm sure, have all of this already has if they have deployed the latest version of Chromium, right? Firefox whatsoever uses different rendering engine, so they'll have to implement this manually, but I'm sure they're gonna do that very soon. Initial letter, so this is pretty cool, man. This is pretty cool, actually. Initial letter, CSS. Yeah, so there's a first letter now selector. That's pretty cool, man. I mean, this is I mean, it seems like tiny details, and it is, but yeah, having this pseudo selector now, that's also pretty cool. I like that, right? First letter, and then you typography, especially so an initial letter. Let's see what else did they do. Container queries has update media queries, scroll and starting style rule. I don't think it's gonna take a while. No, I mean this is not. I wouldn't be surprised if this is in Tailwind in a month, right? I don't think that any of this is difficult for the table. I mean, this is fairly simple, right, to implement. So I don't think that. Yeah, this is gonna be something major, right? I don't think so. So, but it's cool, right? It's cool. It's good. That's good. That's very good. Oh my God, man! This is big. This is super huge. Wow. Actually, from all of these, this is the biggest thing, man. This is really good, man. I mean, it's only 30 years later. But this is good. The scope lets you scope selector matching to a specific subtree. The document with scope styling, you can be very specific about which elements you select without having to write overly specific. So this is really good, right? This is really good because this almost reminds me of a shadow DOM, right? And just so right. So it's almost like going into certain features of native browser components, right? So you can see now, instead of needing to know like 15 levels of scope or whatever, so yeah, you say add scope. So yeah, those kind of decorators, if we may call them right now, I think this is the future of CSS. We're going to be seeing more of those things, right? Because we will have to stop writing these abstractions and writing CSS for JavaScript for the sake of scoping, and right. So this is very good. I mean, CSS, I think, is becoming very, very powerful, and actually it's becoming a very good tool as well. So maybe in 2 to 5 years, I think CSS is going to be awesome because there has been a lot of great things added to it. And the only thing maybe that I'm slightly worried about is that they're adding a little bit. They're kind of reluctant. They are adding a lot of things which. It's almost they're going to start adding functions to CSS, right? And this is very dangerous, right? So CSS still has to stay plain and dumb, and it has to stay basically something that styles your content, right? So the worst place where they can go with these implementations is that you now have conditional logic in your CSS, because that no longer would be, you know, cascading style sheets. That would be then things like you could do in, SAS or less, with mixins and all of that shit, right? Yeah. So Numinix, that is the problem. So they still have to stay very, very true to what the CSS is, which is just a styling layer, right? So they need to make sure that, for me, I remember maybe 5 years ago, CSS custom properties, for example, was the best addition to CSS back then, and this type of features we need, right? This was the hugest thing that CSS got. Oh wow, now we have cascading variables. That's why in Programmer Network, if you remember, that's why I could make this theme builder so easy on your profile because of CSS custom properties. Right now I can do this and this and whatever this, right? I can do whatever hell I want, just because now all of these variables that I've changed can now cascaded, right? So just by changing this type of stuff, right? So this type of features we actually need, right? To work, right? So that's great. I'm gonna parse this a little bit, Leo, and then we might discuss some of these things in one of the next streams. But yeah, there's some pretty awesome stuff here. Scroll-driven animations. Yeah, this is super awesome. This is also pretty cool, man. How do they do this? Let's just take a look at this very quickly. Wow, that's pretty crazy, man. Keyframe text, okay. Yeah, they're using custom. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is amazing, right? You see how actually, like Leo is saying, it's really smooth, right? So you can see that the browser is handling this very efficiently, right? Yeah, I mean, this is really cool. This is, I think, more power to features like this. I think this is great. So yeah, there's some new properties here that I have. You see text is the keyframe itself, and then steps, and then they have some CSS custom properties, some variable here, and then forward. So I've actually never used this steps. Actually, I think I've used step. I don't actually remember. And then they have this animation timeline, scroll. Yeah, I've never seen this before, anime. So yeah, so this is amazing. This is super good. More power to the features like this. Yeah, you can see, yeah, this is so cool, man. You see how the images are kind of changing size as you scroll. This is pretty awesome, man. Yeah, this is, why not? I mean, free things for us developers, the better, right? Who would oppose this, right? I mean, right? It's like, yes, let's go. Okay, I'm not gonna read this now. Carousel with navigation indicators. Are you kidding me, man? Wow, that's cool, man. So now you have basically some sort of native oh my god, okay. But yeah, but you can see again, this is a trade-off now, right? This is a trade-off now because so this is what slightly worries me, right? It's a trade-off, right? Because when you see this expression here, you can see you cannot neglect the fact that CSS now is going to get more difficult, right? Because you can see now you have a calculate function which exists for many years. Then you have a custom CSS property, this I is some color, then -1, so you're subtracting probably from some RGB color or whatever. And then you have, right? So of course, it's not that you have to do this, right? I mean, you would do this, you would probably do this same expression in JavaScript as well. But then at least you would know that you're in a context of a programming language, right? So this now, you know, gets a little bit crazy, right? Because you can see now we have this layering, now we have the scopes and stuff. So yeah, so this is my worry, right? So this is great, but on the other hand, it's a little bit, where is that gonna take us, right? Is the question, right? So, but yeah, we'll see, right? Who knows? Who knows? I know that, yeah. Yeah, this is pretty awesome as well. Yeah, so this is fully done in CSS, right? And HTML. So yeah, I mean, that's great. I think we should maybe literally dedicate one stream, maybe even tomorrow, depending how I feel after work. On Mondays, I have full day meetings. It's literally from 9 until 5. I just have meetings on Mondays. So let's see how I feel tomorrow, but maybe we should actually play with this, right? And just figure out some of this stuff. Yeah. Thank you for sharing this, Leo. I'll bookmark this. I'll just put it somewhere here. Yeah. Super cool stuff. Super cool stuff. I think everybody should, if you care about this sort of shit, I'll just share it. So yeah, Leo, share this. I'm just gonna smack it in here. I'm gonna smack it in here as well. Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, time to go. Time to say goodbye for today. Thank you everybody for sticking around. Thank you everybody. Have a great weekend. I recorded a couple of YouTube videos recently, so make sure to check. I don't know if I have a YouTube here, but check some of the stuff out. And Ayla Croft and everybody, those who joined a little bit late, I'm sorry. But yeah, we're gonna be seeing each other a lot. A couple of times a week, so I'm sure that yeah. You too, Leo. Enjoy, everybody. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow or after tomorrow. Yeah, keep an eye on Discord. I wish you guys the best, and I'll see you. Yeah, Have a great one, everybody. Bye bye. Cheers.